What's up, yo? It's been a while. It's been a while. And I have to tell you, I've missed you. All of you. And I love you. And these are facts. And I have to tell you about this movie Avatar that I saw with my beautiful wife and my daughter. I didn't take my son because he wasn't with us. He was hanging out with his friend Ethan. Him and Ethan are friends, and Ethan is back from Maine. Ethan moved from Brooklyn to Maine and came back to Brooklyn for the holidays, and my son and him have been pretty inseparable for the last week. And you know, it's cool. You know, kids I don't really enjoy it because I don't like my family away from home too long, but it is what it is. I just talked with my son today for about 30 minutes, and he's coming back home today, so that's good. He's been gone at least days. It feels like forever, but what you gonna do? So it was Madison, Mom, and myself, and we went to the 3D. And let me tell you,
there's a 5-minute slowdown on FDR Drive in 3 miles. You're still on the fastest route.
So there was this, it was a little adjusting for me to get my eyes adjusting to the, what's that called, to the 3D. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was none of that, like, you know, when you watch horror 3D movies where things are coming at you, it wasn't like that. A couple of scenes where they were in the water and the water is like splashing towards the screen. It didn't make you, but it was kind of cool, you know. So let me just start off by saying that the first Avatar movie, I was blown away by the first Avatar movie. Blown away. The second Avatar movie, I could have did without. I was not impressed. I was not, it didn't do anything for me. But I do have to tell you this part of the story. That I watched that movie, the second movie, I was stoned. Yes, I was stoned. Something that I've done for the last 10 years, watching movies. I've been watching movies stoned for a lot of years. I have always been told that movies were better when they were stoned. When you were stoned. When you were stoned, the movies were better. And then I also was told that you don't want to watch certain movies without being stoned. Like the one where like let's say Pineapple Express. There are just some movies that you want to watch stoned. I actually saw the Pineapple Express pre getting stoned in movies. So I watched the whole genre of where you were supposed to be stoned movies, and I never was stoned. Whereas for the last 10 years, I've been stoned almost every day, and I have not gone longer than 30 days without being stoned, and that was because of the state of Connecticut when I sold a quarter pound of cannabis to an undercover, and they arrested me. And I was sentenced to 30 days. So that period I didn't get stoned. That's so interesting how I normally keep those kind of things a secret, but you know, it is what it is. I'm a cannabis kind of guy. You know, I deal with cannabis. I actually was in the cannabis business for over 2 years before I even indulged in cannabis. So we have that. And what I was gonna say, so it's my comment section. Let me see. Okay, let me get a thumbs up in the chat to make sure my chat is on. I don't see any chats come in. Okay, there we go. Thank you. You all appreciate it. You know, so I've basically been viewing movies for the last 10 years stoned. There were times where I wouldn't even consider leaving out of my vehicle. I would be in the parking lot of the movie theater. Wow, we come to like a complete standstill here. What's going on? I hope whoever's up there ahead of me is safe and they're not in any danger, because I don't really get it to stop like this unless there's a accident. So I hope everyone's okay. I wouldn't even leave. I wouldn't even get out the car until I got my mind right. In my mind, I believe that's the way it was supposed to be. I was supposed to get my mind right, and now that it's been today's the 28th or the 29th, and I have gotten, I'm at the 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29. Yeah, I'm using my fingers. Let me see, 94 days. 94 days without getting stoned, without getting high, without indulging. And that includes without indulging in edibles. Okay? And that's something that's a little difficult for me because of me being in the cannabis business, especially the edibles. Whenever you make a batch of edibles, you always want to make sure they're okay, but I stick to the formula, I stick to the recipe, so I just know. And then my clients keep calling me back, so that means it must be okay. But it's been 94 days, no cannabis. And I'm going to tell you, I enjoyed the movie differently than I have been for the last 10 years. The last 10 years, I've enjoyed and indulged in cannabis as a prerequisite for even, thinking about going to a theater. And now that now that I'm experiencing going to the movies sober, I kind of like it. I do. I kind of like it. And I'm paying much more attention to details, I think. We're gonna see, because I don't intend on indulging in cannabis anytime soon. So with that being said, I will say that the movie gets an A+. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. It was a movie. Before I left the house today, I was telling my wife that this was a right-hand high for you, Ruger by the side for you movie. And I'm referring to Little Kim's verse in her song when she was talking about how she would go all out for her man. Can we read good morning? Okay, yeah, of course. Let me see. Like Little Kim was talking about how she would go all out for her man, how she would lie on the stand, she would, carry a weapon or even use a weapon to protect her man. This movie was truly representative of women in non-masculine roles. These were not there was a masculine woman there, absolutely. There was one masculine woman. She was the, you know, she was the evil one. You know, they did put women in these evil positions. There was one woman that they put in the position of being evil. She was in the second movie, and this is the woman from the series The Sopranos, and what else? Nurse Jackie. I can't remember her name at the moment. Forgive me for that, but she's an amazing actress who they, to me, do not utilize her acting chops at all for this role. It was a little comical in the first movie and even in the second movie, her role as this, you know, this what is she? She's a general in charge of 1,000 men and women, and their objective is, of course, to get this serum from these whale-like creatures in this distant planet, or far. Imagine if we had the ability to fly to another planet. To this planet, we start testing out all the plants and the animals, and finding out what resources they had, like gold and silver, and what's that? What do they have in Wakanda? They have vibranium. They're looking for all that stuff, and they find that in these whales, they have this liquid, and mind you, they didn't even talk about it in this movie. They didn't talk about the liquid. They just showed the liquid, and they wanted you to be a fan of the movie. They respected the movie and its past, and they wanted you to remember. Because when I saw the serum, which was like a 1 minute, mind you, this movie's 3 hours, and they only spent 1 minute showing them extracting this liquid. And if you didn't watch and pay attention to the second movie, you would have never knew that this liquid that they're getting from these whale-style looking creatures was like the fountain of youth. So just imagine if we went to, or had the capability to go into another world and finding a creature that we were able to extract everlasting life. How valuable would that be? How insane would that be? How much resources will be put to go and extract this from these creatures? So I had to like whisper that to my daughter while we were there. I was like, do you know why they want to kill these creatures? And she was like, no. And I said, it's for that liquid. Do you remember the liquid they just showed? It was like yellow or something. And she was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, that's the fountain of youth. So I'm not sure if she quite got that. The fountain of youth, being 13 years old. I'm not sure. But, in the movie theaters, I try not to do a lot of speaking, a lot of talking. I like to I don't want to be that person in the theater explaining things. So, even though when they were younger, I would be like whispering as low as I can, not to make anyone else's experience suck. Okay, this is construction. This is not an accident. So that's okay. Everyone is fine. And it's raining in the tri-state. New York City, it's raining in the tri-state. Drizzling. It's drizzling, and it's a whopping 47 degrees. So all the snow that we've had in New York City is almost all gone. So it's about 30% of the snow, 20% of the snow left. And mind you, we were covered in snow. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so this movie was truly a movie that these women, they had this one woman where she was like a princess. Oh no, her daughter was a princess. She was like a queen. She was a queen. She had a king, there was a queen, there was like this hierarchiness where she was subservient to her husband, but yet she fought alongside him. Pregnant. No joke. Seriously. Pregnant. And I was just like, whoa, this woman is like straight up. And the belly looks so good. The special effects are pretty good. Sorry, I don't want to miss my turn over here. have these options today. There's not a lot of traffic. Normally there's so much traffic it forces me to my right. But I'm gonna jump onto the left here. It's a beautiful day. Even though it's raining and it's gray everywhere. There's no green. There's no greenery except for the signs. Oh, looks like I just bumped into some more traffic, but I should be okay in about 5-10 minutes. Alright. So, these women were fighting pregnant. Then you had the other woman, the star of the show. She was riding with her husband, and she was so contentious in the beginning, hating on this they call him the pink skin. He was like a human, and he's like so little, and he's like a little pipsqueak because they're so tall. They're like 9 feet tall. So this kid is like, regular 5 foot teenager. And I mean, it was really good. These women were really fighting hard with their husbands, fighting hard to